Hey, what's up everybody? It's the HYPHENATE here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to use the DJI Raveneye with your DJI RS gimbal. Whether it's the RS2, RS3, RS3 Pro, or RSC2, the Raveneye does great for being able to transmit your feed from your camera wirelessly to a phone or a mobile device. Now, as you can see right now, I actually have it mounted on. And what you want to do is first connect this to your gimbal, have the cables connected properly, so your HDMI, USB Type-C to Type-C, and that goes on the bottom port of the 3 ports that are on the gimbal. Make sure everything's connected before you balance your camera. It's very important because if you balance your camera and then you put this on, it changes the weight distribution and now you're gonna be off balance. So balance everything after you have everything connected exactly how you wanna shoot. I'm using the RS3 Pro with the Sony a7 IV and I have a mini HDMI connected into a full-size HDMI. I've already balanced it and I've already calibrated the motors. Also with the antennae, I do not have them straight on. I have them a little bit open like this, and that doesn't interfere with any of my current movements, and this does help the feed get a little bit better reception. All right, so now my gimbal's on, the camera's on, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the actual DJI Raveneye. Hold it, it'll turn red, and then it'll turn blue once it's fully on. And there it is, now it's blue. Now I can go ahead and connect to my mobile device. Now you're gonna wanna make sure that you have the DJI Ronin app connected to your device. I'm gonna be using my phone. Make sure that you have the Wi-Fi on. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into our Wi-Fi settings. Now you're gonna connect manually through the Wi-Fi settings before going into the app. Click on the Raveneye Wi-Fi. And if you're on an Android, it'll tell you that there's no internet available and they're gonna have to stay connected. So click on the bottom to stay connected to that, even if there's no internet present. Now you'll probably get a prompt that says gimbal connected to Raveneye. Connect Raveneye to DJI Ronin app via Wi-Fi to use Raveneye. Click on understood. So we're not gonna stay connected to the gimbal, we're gonna click on connect to Raveneye. And then here a note will pop up, connecting to Raveneye will disconnect gimbal from DJI Ronin. Continue, press OK. And now it's gonna search for the Wi-Fi, which we've already connected to the Raveneye. You'll see it pop up here with the little green checkbox, so go ahead and click on that. Now it's gonna ask you for a custom password. So to change your password, you're gonna wanna type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those 8 numbers, then press OK. Then it'll say Raveneye Wi-Fi will be restarted automatically. Reconnect to Raveneye via Wi-Fi, press OK. Now you gotta go into your Wi-Fi settings on your phone, not through the Ronin app, and then go ahead and put the password when you connect to the Raveneye, press connect. And then again, if you're on an Android, click on stay connected. Now go ahead and go back to the app and connect to the Raveneye once again. Now this only happens the first time you set this up. After the first time, this won't be happening over and over. Go ahead and connect to the Raveneye. Now, if there's a firmware update available for your Raveneye, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna click on mine and do the update now. Now, this can take some time, so just go ahead and be patient. Once the update is done, you'll get Raveneye disconnected, click on OK. Then it'll say that your gimbal's been disconnected, click OK. And then it'll say connect to Raveneye Wi-Fi. Now you have to, again, go to your Wi-Fi settings, connect to the Raveneye, then go ahead and go back to the app. And now you have transmissions. All right, so here we are. The camera that's connected to the gimbal is using an 85mm lens, which is why it's so tight on me. I'm here standing back and I have the phone in my hand doing a screen recording of the transmission that's coming in. So right now what you're seeing through this little bottom overlay is the actual transmission in my phone. And as you can see, it's actually pretty responsive. Not far behind. It's not real time, definitely a few milliseconds behind. But for most shooting applications, this is gonna be great. Now, the reason that I actually got the Raveneye for this gimbal is for when I'm using the gimbal on a car mount system and I'm controlling the gimbal from somewhere else, from inside the car or from another car. I have a remote controller, which I've already made a video on. And then now I'll be able to transmit the feed to my mobile device and be able to have a lot more dynamic shots while not having to actually be on the gimbal. This also works really well when you are mounted onto a crane. All right, now let's go over some of the options here on the transmission system. On the top left corner, you have a little less than symbol. That's to go back and go into the main menu of the app. Underneath that to the left, we have this recenter option. So that recentered the gimbal. Now underneath the recenter button is a button to allow you to control various aspects of the gimbal. So you see at the top, you have 4 different options: Force Mobile, Virtual Joystick, Focus Control, Active Track Pro. We'll start off with Force Mobile. You'll see here that right now it does have this little grayed out slider. If you click on that, it turns on. And then now, if I get out of that, you can see I can control the gimbal with the movement of my phone or my mobile device. This is actually really cool. Now, if you click back in the options, you'll see here you can actually change the speed and the smoothness of the pan, tilt, and roll. So I'm gonna go ahead and just change that and lower that a lot more so it's not so crazy. Now it's gotta take a lot more movement for me to be able to move the gimbal. And now it looks a lot more smooth. All right, we're gonna go back into those options. We're gonna disable Force Mobile. Now let's go to Virtual Joystick. Here you can choose the speed, tilt, roll, etc. of the joystick. If we go ahead and turn that on, now if we click out, there's a little joystick symbol on the bottom left corner. So I can go ahead and move that. And obviously I have my settings very slow, which is why it's moving really slow. So let's go back into those settings. Let's change that a lot faster. So here you can see, oh, I made it way too fast. Now it does have, when I let go, you see it kind of has like the smoothness to it. You can go ahead and change that in the settings as well. So then it stops right when you stop, or if you want it to kind of have a little smoothness for it to come to a slower stop. We're gonna take the smoothness down all the way to 0. And now you can see as soon as I let go, it stops. Again, the focus is slow because I have the slow settings on my camera at the moment. Now normally my smoothness I have at 5 for the pan and tilt, and the roll at 0, because I usually don't control the roll with the virtual joystick. So the speed, I usually have that set to off. And then the speed, what I normally like to operate with when I'm controlling with my phone is around 10, maybe 7. And that's usually a sweet spot. So like this looks way more comfortable, way more natural when I'm controlling with the phone. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and click on the options. Now we're gonna go to focus control. Now this only applies if you actually have the focus motor option to be able to control the focus with your gimbal, which I do not, so I'm gonna skip over that. Next, we're gonna go to Active Track Pro, and then you can choose the active track orientation, landscape or portrait. Landscape is horizontal, so right now we're at landscape, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, you can click and drag on your device on the screen to actually create a box, and when you do, it'll follow that object. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this box over my face. So now, if I move, oh wow, this is in a little, you know what? This is not great. This is getting kind of crazy. Now again, a very important thing to note is that I do have a super tight lens, again, an 85mm lens. So Active Track Pro is not really good with tight lenses. You want a wider lens when you are having the active track on. It makes it easier to track a subject. With an 85mm lens or something that tight or even tighter, it's not gonna work very good because any little movement makes a big difference on your shot. You want a lens that's wider because you can have more movement with the subject kind of still staying in the shot. Also, let's do this all over again. Let's track me. You see at the bottom left corner when you do have the tracking enabled, you have a speed here. You can go all the way to 30 at the max. 20 is pretty high. I'm not even moving and it's going crazy. Yeah, so again, let's lower that drastically. Let's go ahead and track me again. Now again, speed at 5. All right, so let's see if it does a decent job. Again, I would definitely not recommend active track with a tight lens the way I have right now. See, it lost me really quickly. A 24mm lens is probably the sweet spot for active track. So those are the options. Again, I only really ever use virtual joystick when I do control the gimbal. Other than that, I'm not really using any of the other modes. All right, so the option underneath to the left has this little paint palette symbol. That gives you options for zebras, for peaking LUTs, all kinds of different things. I don't really use that, to be honest. Maybe the zebras. Now on the bottom right corner, you have this slider, which I honestly don't even really know what it does. There's like a vibration when I click on it, but I don't know what that's doing. Probably for focus. Again, I don't have a focus module connected, so that's probably what it is. Now on the bottom, you see where it says NA for not available, 3 different options, one of them being ISO. Now that's actually in case you want to connect the cable from your camera to your gimbal for actual camera control, which I've actually made a video on this channel about that as well. And that allows you to easily change your ISO, your shutter speed, and your aperture directly from the app. I didn't connect it here on this video. I probably should have, but it's awesome. Now to the right, you do have this little red icon with a symbol of a phone or a tablet. That allows you to start recording. So if you click on that, it'll record. Now it's not recording from your camera, it's recording on your actual phone or your mobile device. So whatever I'm recording now is going directly into my mobile device. So this actually makes it pretty cool to be able to connect things very easily. Now if I stop recording and I go into the bottom play symbol, that allows me to watch back what I recorded directly into my mobile device. Again, this is not footage from the camera, it's just from the transmitter. Now, another important thing to note is that there is no sound that transmits through this actual transmitter. It's just video. Now, above the record button, you do have this camera with the little cycle symbol around it. So that's please connect dedicated cable to RSS port. So if you go ahead and connect a cable from the RSS port into your camera, that option will be available. So let's go ahead and actually connect that and see what that does, because I actually haven't tested it out. So on one side of the Raveneye, the side that doesn't have the antennae, you go ahead and connect a USB port there into the bottom port of the gimbal. Then the other side, where the antennae and the HDMI port is another USB-C port that says RSS. That is where you connect to your camera. So once I connected it, I turned off everything, I restarted it, and then here we are. You can see at the bottom, we have the f-stop that I can control, the shutter speed, the ISO. And then now you see that the record button on the right has changed. It's not just recording now to the phone or the mobile device. Now, with having the cable connected, I can actually control the camera. Now the camera is recording. And if I want to stop the camera from recording, I press that and then it stops. Now, if you want to be able to record on the camera with that button, but also have it record to your device, you actually have to go to the settings on the top right corner. And then where it says shutter, it'll say shoot plus cache. And then if you click on that, you can choose how many gigs you actually want to record into your mobile device of the video that's being transmitted. So I have it set to 30 minutes right now. You can put not set and make it just go indefinitely until you run out of storage space on your mobile device, or you can choose a set amount of hours. Now, if you have that off, but you have the camera control cable connected to the RSS on the Raveneye, then it's only going to record directly to the camera, not to your mobile device. Above the record button is the camera with the little cycle symbol. Now, I believe that now clicking on that changes between photo mode and video mode. Now, with the A7 IV, I actually have dials on the camera that change between photo and video mode. So with this button, it doesn't do anything. Though, when it's in the photo mode with this little white button, if I click on that, again, nothing happens, so I won't accidentally record either. So it really depends on your camera, if it can go between photo and video mode. Now we're gonna go back to the top right corner for the options and just kind of go over a few more things. You have the Raveneye Assistant, which gives you tips. You have a guide frame, which I actually really like having the rule of thirds, 3x3. I have that on every time I shoot. You can choose to have aspect markers on, a safety zone, focus peaking threshold, a center marker. So I'm actually gonna turn that on. Now, if you go to the marker color, you can go ahead and choose different colors. I'm gonna go to black actually instead of the white, because I feel the white is a little too distracting. And then you can also choose the thickness of it. I'm gonna go to the thinnest, which actually was already at the thinnest, but you could make it thicker if you wanted to. And then you can go into your Wi-Fi settings. I'm not gonna do that. Our Wi-Fi is already set up. So yeah, this Raveneye transmission system is actually really awesome. And again, the main reason I got it is so I can actually have the gimbal and my camera connected on a car mount system or on a crane, and I can control everything wirelessly. And again, I personally do have a separate wireless remote control that I use to control the gimbal movement. Though if I didn't have that, I could control the gimbal movement here through the actual mobile device. So there you guys have it. That's the DJI Raveneye transmission system for the DJI Gimbals. Works for the RS2, RSC2, RS3, and RS3 Pro. If you're interested in getting it, I do have links in the description where you can purchase it, and I do have links to the other videos that I mentioned as well. Please make sure to drop a like on this video, drop a comment below if you have any questions, and please make sure to subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming soon. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.